What are polygons? Polygons are simple closed curves made up of only line segments. So a polygon should be a simple closed curve and it should be made up of only line segments. Let's take all these figures one by one and let's discuss whether they are polygons or not. In this figure, we have three line segments. Okay, is it a simple closed curve? Yes, it is a simple closed curve. Why simple? Because this curve doesn't crosses it at any given point, right? It is a simple curve because it is not crossing it anywhere, and it is closed because it has no free ends. Therefore, it's a simple closed curve and it is only made up of line segments. Therefore, is this a polygon? Yes, this is a polygon. In this figure, again, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 line segments. Is it simple? Yes, it is simple because it is not being crossed at any point, right? If you're not understanding by cross, you can see this figure. Here you can see that it's crossing at this point. In a given figure, if you see any point where you have more than two portions of the given curve, then that is not simple. In this one, at this point, you can see one part, two part, third portion and the fourth portion of this complete curve. So at this point, we have four different portions of the same curve. But in this, if you take this point, this point, this point, or this point, or at any point, you have only two portions. Like if I take a point here, one part and two part. If I take a point here, one part and two part. But if you take a point here, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So this is not a simple curve. This one is not a simple curve. But yes, this is a simple curve because it is not crossing it anywhere. Is it closed? Yes, it is closed because it doesn't have any free ends. Like free ends in this case, you can see it has free ends. Therefore, this is not a closed. This is a closed curve. So is this a polygon? Yes, this is a polygon. What about this one? Well, the first question is it simple? Yes, it is simple because it doesn't cross at any given point. Okay. Is it a closed curve? No, it is not a closed curve because it has free ends. It has two free ends. It is made up of only line segments. It is simple curve because it doesn't cross it anywhere, but it is not closed because it has free ends. So this is not a closed curve. Sorry, it is not a polygon. What about this one? Well, we have already discussed that this is not actually simple curve. It is made up of only line segments. It is closed also because it doesn't contain any free ends, but it is not simple because it crosses here. At this point, it crosses it. Therefore, this is not a polygon. What about this one? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 line segments. Okay. Is it simple? Yes, it is simple because it doesn't cross at any given point. Okay. Is it closed? Yes, it is completely closed because it doesn't contain any free ends. Okay. So is it a polygon? Yes, it is a polygon. In this figure, we have 1, 2, and 3 line segments. But in this diagram or figure, we have one point where it crosses it, right? This is the one point. So if you take this point, you can clearly see that it has this portion, it has another portion, it has another portion of the curve, it has another portion of the curve. So it has 4 different portions of this curve. So it crosses it. Therefore, it is not a simple curve. Neither it is a closed curve because here you have free ends, right? Also, therefore, this is not a polygon. This is not a polygon. What about this one? Well, again, in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we have different line segments, but this is not a simple curve. The first condition is you have to check whether it is simple or not. No, it is not simple because at this point, right, it is crossing each other. The curve is crossing it. So it is not a simple curve. Yes, it is closed curve because it doesn't contain any free ends, but it is only made up of line segments. But since it crosses it at two different points, therefore it is not a simple curve. Therefore, it is not a polygon. In this one, is it a simple curve? Yes, it is a simple curve because it doesn't crosses at any given point. What about, is it closed? Yes, it is closed because it doesn't contain any free ends. But what about, is it only made up of line segments? Well, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till these 5 line segments. If you ask about these line segments, these are line segments, but this one is actually a curve. Therefore, it is not completely made up of line segments because it contains one curve. Therefore, this is not a polygon. In this diagram, it is a simple curve. Yes, it is a simple curve because it doesn't cross it anywhere. What about closed? No, it is not closed because it has free ends. Therefore, this is not a simple closed curve, though it is made up of only line segments, but it is not simple closed curve. Therefore, this is not a polygon.